Привет, привет, мой дорогой зритель. А мы продолжаем и даже, скорее всего, заканчиваем замечательную эту игрушечку. Мы прямо уже в финале. И я так думаю, что это финал, потому что, ну как бы, ведь сейчас мы кого-то тут убьем, короче, и игра уже нам недвусмысленно намекнула, что типа, чувак, если ты сейчас вот туда отправишься, то как бы все, край. Дальше уже обратно дороги нет, как говорится. Вот. Собственно, у нас тут есть супер-мега-ган, вот такой вот, который просто не щадит никого, убивает всех. Вскрываем замочек. Хорошо. Что тут у нас? Открыть инвентарную опись. Зачем? Ай, доведи нафиг, короче. Неинтересно. Ой, ну вот сейчас вот не хватает мне еще писателей всяких. О, пацаны, здорово. Опа. Он умрет? Я не понимаю, это меня дамажат эти волны, или они меня лечат, или что происходит вообще? Как это работает? Может, почитать стоит? Это верное оружие, сильно модифицированная винтовка, просто космос, использует энергетический боеприпас, стреляющий очередями из 3N лучей. А есть типа это, как это? О, кодекс. Основы, исследования, добыча, оружие и броня. Навыки, репутация не очень интересно. Да, так, подожди. Бой. Я просто хочу про лучи почитать. А тут нет нигде ничего, да? Ну ладно. Ну и ладно. Сейчас почешу ухо. Вот. И можно дальше ехать. Это лифт.
Get in there, troops! For Monarch!
О, это иконоборцы. Красавцы. А почему они за нас? Ну, я понимаю, почему они за меня. Потому что, как бы... Полезем? Зачем я сюда влез? Беги давай быстрее. Кто мне стреляет? Это все какой-то всякий. А вы не могли как бы подсобить, не, пацаны? Ну, серьезно. Вы же не просто так сюда пришли. Зачем я собираю это барахло? Нет тут никого. Воу-воу-воу. давай быстрее. Так. Сейчас надо понять. А, да ты угораешь? Так, окей. Ага, понято.
Well, look who it is. I'll be damned. I was prepping the studio for our announcement, and here you are as a bonus.
Да, конечно, особый
When you
босс.
go off and get yourself shot, try to avoid taking one to the face. I'll want it recognizable to show to my citizens. My word! You've correctly identified the most... It's a wonder what Phineas saw in you. Then again, he's an insane person. Thankfully, he's our insane person now. A proper... Yes, he is an extraordinarily obstinate fellow, isn't he? Fine, he isn't working for us per se. Semantics, he'll come around. But that's between us. As far as my adoring citizens will know, we've turned a dangerous crackpot into a working-class man. It's a miracle. It's PR. It's for the best, really. Believe me, the good people of Byzantium don't want to know what goes on here.
Ну, это
I know
понятно.
Halcyon's in rough shape, but riots are the last thing anybody... Let me ask you something, Captain. Have you at any point thought about not fucking up our entire society?
Не надо накрывать жопой все наше общество. Это достойно, да.
Oh, right. This coming from the psychopathic outlaw. Yes, we don't need your help. We'll have to agree to disagree on that one, Captain. Now, if you don't mind...
Типа они не будут меня убивать?
I've got work to do.
Ну окей. Я-то без проблем пойду и убью дальше эту тетку. Где она там живет? Какая-то там. Я забыл, как ее зовут. А здесь кто-то будет, нет? Слышь, там вон с той стороны, давай, прикрывай. Мне кажется, он сейчас умрет. Да что такое-то? Да я пройду. Эти стрелушки зачем мне нужны? Так, что у нас тут? Десяточка, да? Но здесь мы в любом случае до 80 не добьем, я более чем уверен, поэтому давай или попробуем. Давай попробуем. Вот так вот сделать. Вдруг мне повезет и где-то еще понадобится в диалоге в каком-нибудь ложь. Или что, я там убеждение взял, неважно. Ну просто мне кажется, что мне хватает всех скиллов остальных, чтобы... Собственно.
Captain, you have an uncanny talent for complicating my
Ну так,
life.
это же да,
You've
это я могу.
disrupted the balance of power. You've upset the natural order of things. You've introduced uncertainty, and there is nothing I despise more than uncertainty. typical. Running your mouth in the middle of a crisis. It's almost as if you delighted chaos. My reports described you as one of Halcyon's sharpest minds. I can't imagine why you'd do something so irrational. I should have dealt with you a long time ago. You were always too dangerous to leave unchecked. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised by your impertinence. Leaving you alive was my greatest mistake. But it is a mistake I intend to correct.
Селенок-то хватит.
I have Dr. Wells in my custody. Once I've secured his cooperation, I can move forward with the program. I can repair the... In that we are in agreement. An end to violence is precisely what I want. An end to chaos. An end to senseless loss of life. The only obstacle standing in my way is you. I take no pleasure in this, you know. I simply have no other option. Leaving you alive is too great a risk.
Умереть.
Goodbye, Captain.
Goodbye, значит.
I had a feeling you'd say that.
И?
This prison is equipped with an automechanical warden. I've had it programmed to eliminate you. And don't worry. I will inform Dr. Wells that you died.
Так, и где это? Где это чмо? Сейчас по-любому на него эта пушка не будет, короче, работать. Не, ну хрень здоровая, конечно, но как бы... Таран. Ну, так это... Как бы, можно я закрою? Спасибо. Тихо-тихо-тихо-тихо. Тихо-тихо-тихо-тихо-тихо. Пойдем. Ну понятно. Да. Давай, иди сюда. Где ты? Идешь сюда? Ай ты, бля. Давай, поехали. Давай. Воу-воу. А, это ты типа взорвал у меня за спиной что-то, да? Короче. Да изи тебя убить-то осталось. Давай, поехали. Все. Разговоров-то было. Все, это главный супер-мега-босс. Слышь, как тебя там, Софья? Ты где там? Я иду уже.
Get me out of here!
You don't know how glad I am to see you. You did the right thing. Akande was a monster. Her death was much deserved, and long overdue. And you lunatic, you broke into the board's own fortress just to rescue one doddering old man. You are absolutely out of your mind, and I can't begin to thank you enough. I'm all right, thanks to you. Akande wanted my cooperation. I'm quite sure she would have beaten it out of me if you hadn't arrived. You've broken the board's stranglehold on this colony, and you saved my life. But there's still so much we have yet to accomplish. You and I are going to have to work harder than ever to save Halcyon. I'm afraid the situation is far worse than any of us ever anticipated. I would like nothing more than to celebrate this victory, but we have a serious problem on our hands.
Так.
Earth has gone dark. We haven't received a single message in 3 years. There's been no communication, no signals, nothing. 2 years ago, the Earth's Directorate's frigate disappeared on their way back to Earth. We don't know what they discovered when they arrived, or if they arrived at all. We're in serious trouble, my friend. Do you know what this means for Halcyon? We can't rely on Earth for support anymore. We've been cut loose. We're entirely on our own. Yes, we do. You've done a marvelous thing. You've succeeded where anyone else would have failed. We must begin the revival process immediately, starting with the Hope's brightest minds. And then we're going to fix this damn colony, one problem at a time.
Поставим колонию.
We're going to need a leader, and I can't imagine a better person for the job than you. What do you say, old friend? Will you help us?
Лидер? Ну да,
I
вот
can't
так
tell you
ответил.
how glad I am to hear that.
Но я бы вообще, наверное, не
When I
стал бы
revived you,
брать на себя
I
такую
thought we were going to
ответственность.
save this colony all by ourselves, but I was wrong. We can't save Halcyon on our own. We're all going to have to pull together, somehow. We are not a colony anymore. Our last connection to Earth has been severed. I don't know if we'll survive, but we're going to have to try our best.
И что? Это все?
The OSI teaches that everything in the universe happens according to the grand plan. But the stranger that arrived in Halcyon was an unplanned variable. From the moment he landed in Emerald Vale, his actions altered the course of history. The events on Tartarus brought about the end of the board's authority. But the board's mistakes would haunt the colony for decades to come. The damage they left behind would require the work of a generation to repair. Dr. Phineas Wells began reviving a handful of the Hope's colonists. Engineers, scientists, technicians, and intellectuals. They were among the brightest minds the Earth had ever sent out into the stars. The Hope scientists and engineers woke up in a colony descending headlong into total collapse. With no way to return to Earth, they had no choice but to band together and devote themselves to the cause of saving Halcyon. The people of Halcyon were nothing if not hardy. In the absence of the board's authority, many of the colony's settlements banded together with a single purpose in mind: survival. Life was especially hard in the years to come. Some towns dissolved by attrition and starvation, but most of them found a way to carry on. In the years to come, Halcyon was forced to reckon with its newfound freedom. The board was gone, and for better or worse, the
Да,
colony was
излишняя свобода
responsible for
иногда
its
только
own
к
destiny.
плохому приводит.
As the colony struggled to survive, the inspirational story of the iconoclasts spread like wildfire. and Graham was able to bring many of the smaller Terra 2 townships into the fold. However, his zealous obsession with spreading the word blinded him to the needs of a growing organization, and the movement was unsustainable at scale. The iconoclast way seemed to work best, and ultimately petered out on Monarch. Consumed by paranoia, Lilya Hagen took Sublight Salvage in a controversial direction, openly accusing board officials of an extraterrestrial conspiracy. One day, an accident at the Groundbreaker's docking bay silenced her forever. Time would tell if her replacement could keep the Sublight family together. The collapse of Edgewater left its workers bereft of any purpose in life. Most of them made their way to Adelaide McDevitt's camp, hoping to ingratiate themselves into her favor. Adelaide accepted only a few to her community. The rest were turned away and likely died of starvation. Nevertheless, Adelaide's camp grew into a well-established town. Adelaide McDevitt refused to cooperate with the ongoing effort to save Halcyon from collapse. A sympathetic deserter stole a copy of her research and delivered it to the Hope's scientists. It is unclear how useful Adelaide's research was. An optimistic estimate suggests her work may have bought Halcyon another few years of survival. Adelaide would never know. She died that winter. Under the leadership of Junlei Tennyson, the Groundbreaker held firm against corporate influence. The ship's mechanical stability gave Junlei the time to educate a promising generation of engineers, schooled in her family's traditions. The future of the Groundbreaker looks promising. The rediscovery of the Hope and the abandonment of the lifetime employment program forced Byzantium to come to terms with some uncomfortable realities about the state of Halcyon. While Byzantines were reluctant to surrender the luxuries they'd grown accustomed to, the board's diminished authority gave them little choice in the matter.
Отвратительно. Пришлось устроиться на работу, знаете, Византии. Ай-яй-яй. Да, для них, наверное, действительно это были темные времена. О, это наемница, которая закидывалась таблеточками.
Traveling with the crew served as a constant reminder of the family she'd lost, and so she eventually returned to Monarch to get back to what she found most comfortable: the deep end of a bottle and the far end of a trail. Few have seen her since, but travelers often swear they hear her and her machine gun in the night, screaming swears and spitting bullets.
Нормас, вернулась на
Minister
одной
Clark was
бутылке.
released from house arrest, and his contact with you gave him a sense of renewed purpose and vigor. Once it became clear that no help would be coming from Earth, he threw his considerable efforts and talents into helping Halcyon manage the crisis before it. As for Dr. Phineas Wells, he spent his remaining years in his orbital lab. Though he was always haunted by the failures of his past, he was determined to make things right by building toward the future. Dr. Wells was able to revive many more scientists and engineers than he first expected, thanks to the additional batch of chemicals you stole from the Ministry. Wells never forgot about the human lives that were lost in acquiring these chemicals. The revival project was hard and painful work, but in the end, despite limited resources, over half the Hope's colonists were successfully revived. Even after Wells passed away, the Hope scientists and engineers worked night and day to pull Halcyon from the brink of collapse. Their efforts continue to this day, which may be reason enough for optimism. Dr. Wells laid the groundwork for the project to save the colony, but he would never live to see the fruits of his labor. He passed away a few years later. His work was carried on by the scientists and engineers he revived. Life will never be the same in Halcyon. It is widely agreed that the colony has a chance of stabilizing within a generation, owing to the hard work and determination of the surviving colonists. Recovery is a distant goal, and the path is long and uncertain. But the people of Halcyon carry on, determined as ever. And what about you? the unplanned variable in the history of Halcyon. Long after Wells passed away, you carried on his work with more energy, determination, and brilliance than he could ever muster. The years that followed were hard, but Halcyon survived by the efforts of the Hope's most promising colonists, the greatest of which was you. No one knows what's happened to Earth, and no one knows what the future has in store for Halcyon. All we know for certain is this: the name of the Unreliable and that of its intrepid captain will remain the subject of countless stories for years to come.
И пошли у нас титрочки. Ну, финал классный, мне понравилось. Ну, в том плане, что как реализовано, как бы ничего нового, но про всех так поговорили, прикольно. Какой-то, блин, это, по-моему, один из самых положительных финалов, которые я вообще видел, потому что обычно, когда я прохожу игры, там все время что-то кто-то вот про кого-то не говорят, кто-то умирает, а тут прям все так очень, очень положительно получилось. Наверное, это потому, что я слишком идеалистически правильно пытался играть. Ну, на самом деле, просто так хотелось играть, поэтому так и я и играл. В целом, игра, наверное, ну, я бы не сказал, что тянет на свои деньги, потому что мне кажется, что можно и за меньшие деньги купить гораздо больше удовольствия, да, если считать в часах, да, игровых. Но фишка в том, что здесь игра действительно красивая и, типа, очень продуманный сюжет, все дела, над этим много людей трудились, и за это, наверное, стоит заплатить. Вот. В целом, достойная игрушка, чё. Не убийца, конечно, Fallout, но есть смысл поиграть. Если любите Fallout, любите космос и вот это все, то почему бы и нет. Очень даже неплохой, скажем так, экземплярчик. Стажеры? Куча стажеров работала над игрой, вообще шикарно. А что, скипнуть можно, нет? Можно скипнуть. Ну все. Все, создатели, все. Я не буду еще раз их смотреть. В общем-то, всем спасибо за внимание. Ставьте лайки, делитесь, подписывайтесь, пишите комментарии, пишите, во что еще стоит поиграть. Ну и всем пока-пока. До встречи в новых играх.